I, 32F, have been married to my husband Tyler, 34M, for 5 years, together for 8. We both work in tech. I'm a software developer and he's a project manager at different companies. We bought our house 3 years ago in a nice suburb. It's probably bigger than we need, 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, but we got a good deal and we're thinking about starting a family soon. My sister-in-law Nancy, 38F, lost her job 3 months ago. She was a mid-level manager at a retail chain that went bankrupt. She lives with her husband Tom, 40M, and their 2 kids Jake, 8M, and Emma, 6F, about an hour away from us in the city. Some background on my relationship with Nancy: we were never close but things were cordial. She made some comments at my wedding about Tyler marrying down since my parents are immigrants who worked factory jobs, while their family is old money. Tyler shut that down quickly and she apologized, claiming she was just stressed about being maid of honor. After that, we kept things surface level polite at family gatherings. Everything changed when Nancy lost her job. The first time she showed up unannounced, it was a Tuesday at 11 a.m. I was working from home and on a video call when the doorbell kept ringing. When I finally answered, she was standing there with both kids and 3 bags of laundry. She said their washing machine broke and could she please use ours? I felt awkward saying no with the kids right there, so I let them in. That visit lasted 6 hours. While the laundry ran, she set the kids up with their iPads in our living room and started wandering around the house, making comments like, "You really don't use this guest room much, do you? And this would make such a cute playroom." I was trying to work but kept having to mute myself during calls because of the noise. After that, Nancy started showing up 2 to 3 times a week. Always unannounced, always with some excuse. Their internet was slow for the kids' homework, their AC wasn't working well, she needed to get out of the house while job hunting. The visits got longer and longer. She'd arrive mid-morning and stay through dinner, even though I never invited her to stay that long. I started noticing things moved around in the house. She'd rearrange our kitchen cabinets to make more sense. She went through our pantry and put sticky notes on things saying expired or should donate. She even started bringing her own groceries and filling our fridge, saying she couldn't stand how empty it looked. The kids took over our guest room, leaving toys everywhere and drawing on the walls with markers. When I mentioned the damage to Nancy, she laughed it off, saying that's why you need to baby-proof. Good practice for when you have your own. I later overheard her telling the kids they could pick their own colors when we redid the room. I tried talking to Tyler multiple times. At first gently, "Hey, maybe we should set some boundaries about visit times?" Then more directly, "Your sister is making me uncomfortable in my own home." But he always defended her, "She's family. She's going through a rough time. The kids love coming here. You're being too sensitive." Nancy started making more comments about their financial situation. How their rent was highway robbery. How Tom's salary barely covered basics. How the kids deserved a better environment. She'd sigh heavily looking at our empty bedrooms and talk about how wasteful it was for 2 people to have so much space. I started working from coffee shops on my WFH days just to avoid them. When I was home, Nancy would barge into my office without knocking, asking to borrow things, printer paper, stamps, even my laptop charger. She'd stand behind me looking at my screen, asking about my salary and if my company was hiring. The final straw happened last week. I had an important client meeting, so I stayed home despite knowing Nancy was coming over. I was in my office with the door closed when I heard them upstairs. Our bedroom is up there and it's always been an unspoken rule that guests don't go into private spaces. I went to check and found Nancy in our walk-in closet, taking photos and videos of everything. The kids were jumping on our bed and going through my jewelry box. When Nancy saw me, she quickly tried to hide her phone, but I caught a glimpse of the screen. She had been recording a video narrating everything in our closet. I completely lost it. I demanded to know what she was doing in our private space and why she was recording. She got defensive, saying she was just showing Tom some organizing ideas and getting inspiration for their next place. When I pressed her about why she was narrating the video, she started crying and saying I was attacking her. I told her to get out immediately. She tried arguing, but I was done. I said I wasn't comfortable having someone in my house who thought it was okay to invade my privacy and secretly record my personal space. She started sobbing dramatically about how family helps family and blood is thicker than water. I called Tyler at work and told him what happened. He rushed home, but instead of backing me up, he defended her. He said I was overreacting and she probably just wanted decorating ideas. That's when I snapped. I told them both to get out of my house. Nancy left with the kids, crying and telling them Auntie doesn't want us anymore. Tyler stayed at his parents' house that night. Since then, his whole family has been attacking me. His mom called saying I'm heartless for not supporting family in crisis. His dad texted that Nancy's just going through a rough time and needs understanding. Even Tom called to say I'm tearing the family apart. Tyler came back the next day saying I need to apologize to Nancy. He says I'm being paranoid and cruel to his sister when she's vulnerable. But my gut tells me there's more going on here than they're admitting. I don't trust her anymore and I refuse to let someone violate my privacy like that. Ida for putting my foot down? I feel like I'm going crazy with everyone defending this behavior. Edit, thank you for all the support. To answer some common questions, yes, I have cameras but only outside the house. No, we never gave Nancy a key but she knows the garage code. Yes, I've already changed it. Update 1 first, thank you everyone for the support on my original post. Things have gotten much worse, and now I understand why Nancy was really recording our house. The day after I kicked them out, I started getting weird messages from people I didn't know on Facebook. They were asking things like when is the move-in date? And are you still selling the master bedroom furniture? I ignored them at first, thinking they were scams. Then my neighbor Susan came over. She seemed hesitant but said she needed to tell me something. She'd been in a local Facebook moms group with Nancy, who had been posting regular updates about her new home, our house. Susan showed me screenshots of Nancy's posts going back months. Nancy had been telling everyone that Tyler and I were moving abroad for work and had agreed to let her family take over our house. She'd been posting those videos and photos she took, giving virtual tours, and asking for decorating advice. She'd even started a GoFundMe titled Help Us Move Into Our Forever Home with photos of our house. I was still processing this when Tom's cousin reached out. He works at their apartment complex and warned me that Nancy and Tom had used my name as a reference when they got an eviction notice. They told their landlord they were voluntarily leaving because they were moving in with us. They'd shown the videos as proof they had somewhere to go. The real bomb dropped when I got a call from Tyler's parents' financial advisor. He was an old family friend and felt ethically obligated to warn me. Nancy and Tom had filed for bankruptcy last week. They're over $100,000 in debt from online gambling and shopping addiction. They'd been borrowing money from family members for months, claiming medical emergencies for the kids. When I confronted Tyler about all this, he broke down. He admitted he knew about their financial troubles back in January. Nancy had begged him to convince me to let them move in. She said they were about to lose their apartment and the kids would be homeless. Tyler knew I'd say no immediately, so he encouraged her visits hoping I'd get used to having them around and eventually agree. That's why he always defended her behavior. He was part of the plan all along. He actually suggested she bring the kids more often because he thought it would soften me up. He knew about the Facebook posts and GoFundMe but thought Nancy would take them down before I found out. I packed my bags that night and went to stay with my best friend Amy. I couldn't stand looking at Tyler knowing he'd been manipulating me for months. He keeps calling and texting, saying he was just trying to help his sister and didn't think it would get this out of hand. He claims he realized it was wrong but didn't know how to stop it without everyone finding out. His parents are somehow even worse. They called yesterday saying I'm being selfish and immature by leaving. Apparently Nancy and Tom are now staying with them and it's very crowded. They suggested we could work something out where Nancy's family takes the upstairs bedrooms and helps with bills once they get back on their feet. When I refused, his mom actually said, "Well, what did you think would happen when you bought such a big house? Of course family will need to use the extra space sometimes." She implied I was showing my lack of class background by not understanding how family estates work. I've contacted a lawyer to discuss my options. The GoFundMe raised over $8,000 using photos of my house and false claims about my husband and me. Nancy's still telling people we promised them the house, and some distant relatives are apparently planning to help them move in next month. Tyler's now saying he'll do anything to fix this, but he still thinks I should consider letting them stay just until they find something else. He doesn't seem to understand that this isn't just about the house anymore, it's about months of lies and manipulation from my own husband. His family keeps trying to make me the villain, saying I'm heartless for not helping family in their time of need. They say I'm overreacting to a few white lies Nancy told out of desperation. Tom's even tried claiming the gambling was a one-time mistake and they've learned their lesson. But I found out they took out 3 new credit cards last week. They're still gambling and hiding it from Tyler's parents. They have no intention of addressing their real problems, they just want to band-aid it by moving in with us and probably bleeding us dry too. I've blocked everyone except Tyler and my lawyer says not to delete any of Nancy's posts or messages as we might need them. I don't know if my marriage can survive this level of betrayal. Even if Nancy never moved in, how can I trust a husband who spent months secretly plotting with his sister to manipulate me? Edit, several people ask why Tyler's so invested in helping Nancy. Apparently he helped her hide a gambling problem from their parents in college by paying her debts. He thinks if he doesn't help her now, it's his fault if she relapses. I told him that's exactly why she keeps manipulating him. She knows he feels responsible. Update 2: Yesterday I had a meeting with Nancy and Tom at my lawyer's office. We insisted on having it recorded since they're still telling people I promised them our house. What came out during this meeting was more disturbing than I imagined. When my lawyer presented evidence of their social media posts in the GoFundMe, Nancy initially tried to deny everything. She claimed her accounts were hacked or people had misunderstood her posts. But when we showed her the videos she'd taken in our house, complete with her narrating things like "This will be Jake's room once we move in, and we'll replace this ugly furniture," she broke down. Nancy admitted she and Tom had been planning this move for over 8 months. Their gambling didn't cause their financial problems caused them to start gambling, hoping for a big win to fix everything. When that didn't work, they deliberately ran up more debt and stopped paying rent. They thought if they could make themselves and the kids actually homeless, Tyler and I wouldn't have the heart to turn them away. The videos of our house weren't just for their landlord or the Facebook groups. Nancy had joined multiple home renovation and family living communities online where she posed as me. She told people she was a wealthy tech executive looking to share her blessing with her struggling sister-in-law's family. She'd been getting advice on how to convert our home office into a classroom for homeschooling her kids. Tom finally cracked under questioning and revealed their debt is actually closer to $200,000. They'd borrowed money from basically everyone in the family. Tyler's parents gave them $50,000 from their retirement fund believing Jake needed emergency surgery. Tom's parents mortgaged their house to lend them $30,000 for what they claimed was a down payment on a new home. They even scammed Tyler's elderly grandmother out of her savings by claiming Emma had a rare illness. The most shocking part was learning about Tyler's involvement. When my lawyer asked why they thought this plan would work, Nancy smugly said because Tyler promised it would. She showed us text messages going back over a year where Tyler had been advising her on how to handle me. He suggested bringing the kids over more, making comments about the empty rooms, and slowly moving their things in so I'd get used to them being around. There were messages where they discussed what would happen after they moved in. Tyler told Nancy they could wait a few months and then suggest I convert my home office to a playroom since I probably wouldn't want to work from home with the kids around anyway. They planned to gradually make me so uncomfortable in my own house that I'd start staying at my parents' place more often. The reason for Tyler's bizarre loyalty came out too. Back in college, Nancy had a gambling problem and stole money from their parents' business. Tyler helped her cover it up by taking out student loans to repay the money before anyone noticed. She's been using that secret to manipulate him ever since, threatening to tell their parents he helped her steal from them if he stopped supporting her. I filed for separation the same day. Tyler showed up at Amy's house that night, crying and claiming he could explain everything. He said he never thought Nancy would actually go through with moving in, he was just telling her what she wanted to hear to keep the peace. When I showed him the texts about making me uncomfortable in my own home, he tried to say Nancy had manipulated those screenshots. His parents called too, but now they're singing a different tune. The truth about the emergency surgery money came out and they're facing delayed retirement. They wanted to know if I could help them track where the money went since I work with computers. I blocked their number. Tom's parents are trying to force Nancy into gambling addiction treatment by threatening to press charges over the mortgage fraud. The kids are staying with them temporarily while everything gets sorted out. Jake apparently told his teacher about the new house they were moving to, which prompted a welfare check that got CPS involved. Tyler keeps swinging between begging for forgiveness and accusing me of abandoning his family when they need me. He actually suggested we could take out a home equity loan to help Nancy get back on her feet. When I refused, he said I was being cruel making his parents lose their retirement over this when we could easily help. I've moved all my important documents to a safety deposit box and frozen my credit. My lawyer is drafting divorce papers and we're documenting everything for potential legal action over the fraud. I feel like I'm watching a decade-long con finally fall apart, and I was just the latest target. Edit: to people asking why I didn't notice the signs earlier, Tyler handled our finances since he had an MBA. I've learned an expensive lesson about financial independence in marriage. Update 3: the divorce was finalized last week. I thought I'd feel sad, but mostly I feel relieved. These past 6 months have revealed so much more about the family I married into. After my last update, I had my lawyer do a thorough investigation of our finances. What we found was staggering. Tyler hadn't just been helping Nancy, he'd been systematically draining our accounts for years. Over $100,000 from our joint savings had gone to Nancy and Tom in small transfers, carefully timed to avoid triggering any alerts. He'd even taken out a second mortgage on our house without my knowledge by forging my signature. Tyler's parents had to sell their house. The $50,000 they gave Nancy and Tom wasn't even the full extent of it. They'd also been paying their credit card bills for months, thinking it was for Jake's medical treatments. They're living in a small apartment now and had to go back to work despite being in their 70s. Tom's parents lost their house too. The $30,000 mortgage they took out snowballed when they discovered Nancy had opened credit cards in their names. They're staying with Tom's sister and talking about bankruptcy. Their retirement savings are completely gone. Nancy and Tom are facing criminal charges for fraud. The GoFundMe scam caught the attention of the FBI because they've done similar fundraisers in 3 other states, always targeting different family members with fake medical emergencies. They're looking at serious prison time. The kids are with Tom's sister now. CPS got involved after investigating the welfare check from Jake's school. They found evidence of neglect. Nancy and Tom had been leaving them alone for days while gambling at casinos in neighboring states. Jake was actually the one who recorded some of those house tour videos, which broke my heart. Tyler finally admitted everything to our marriage counselor. He'd been covering for Nancy since they were teenagers. Their parents were strict about grades and behavior, so he helped her hide things, bad report cards, sneaking out, stealing money. It evolved into a lifelong pattern where he felt responsible for protecting her, even at the cost of his own relationships. The final straw came when I discovered Tyler had listed our house for sale behind my back. He was planning to sell it and use the money to pay off Nancy's debts, assuming I'd eventually understand it was for family. When I confronted him, he still tried to defend it, saying I was being selfish for not wanting to help his sister avoid prison. I sold the house myself instead. After paying off the secret second mortgage and setting aside money for legal fees, I had enough to buy a small condo in another state. I started a new job last month and I'm slowly rebuilding my life. Tyler's family is still in denial. His mother sends weekly emails about how I destroyed their family by not standing by them in their time of need. She claims if I had just let Nancy and Tom move in, none of this would have happened. She doesn't understand that enabling them would have just prolonged the inevitable. Nancy still tells anyone who'll listen that I promised them our house. She showed up at my office last month, crying about how I stole her children's future. Security had to escort her out. The videos of our house are still circulating in certain Facebook groups, with people commenting about how cruel I am for going back on my word. I've gone completely no contact with all of them. Changed my number, deleted social media, moved to a new city. Some mutual friends say I'm being harsh, that families should stick together. But I've learned that family isn't an excuse for fraud, manipulation, and theft. Tyler sent me one final email after the divorce was final. He said he realizes now that he sacrificed our marriage to enable his sister's addiction. Too little, too late. Some people won't change until they hit rock bottom, and I refuse to let them drag me down with them.